Good day and hello, besties. My name is Shelby Ashley and welcome back to another episode recap from Big Brother 28. This was episode 6. This was our HOH episode from week 2. And let me tell you, I was so looking forward to this one. I was ready to see this nomination ceremony because, at least the beginnings of this nomination ceremony, I was ready to see the competition Angela played. I really wanted to see what kind of happened at the HOH competition that between Rick and Melody, which we didn't really get on the episode. And, you know, it had lying, it had scheming, it had a new alliance, it had a war declared, and an egg yelling at a drag queen. So let's get into it. We open up right after Julie tells the house guests about the BB time capsule, where one person will be voted on from America, and the person with the most votes gets a chance to enter the BB time capsule, and they will get the opportunity to play a competition, and they get a chance to either win a win a power, and if they lose, then they get a punishment. I'm just going to go ahead and go with this through line. We see later on Angela is chosen as the first person to go into the BB time capsule. Now, when someone goes into the BB time capsule, they cannot go into it again. So Angela ends up winning that America vote, and she goes into the BB time capsule. It was actually like the same competition that she played on her first season. I think she was also maybe playing for power, or might have, I think actually, no, that I'm thinking about it, I think it was the first competition in the first episode, like her first competition she played. And she sat in a chair, it spun all around, and she had to try to, I think it kind of gave me press your luck vibes, like no whammies, stop, because how are you going to tell like where that thing's going to land? It ultimately ended up landing on punishment 3, and she gets the hard-boiled detective punishment. It's the same one that Vince had last year, where she's dressed up as an egg with the little magnifying glass. And it is some of the best live feed content I've ever seen. It is so funny with her in that costume. And then from this same storyline for the BB time capsule, we get a DR after everybody finds out that Angela got it, and Jason's crying. He feels like America doesn't like him. He was really hoping his Drag Race fans would come through. But I think what he's failing to understand, honestly, is that this is a CBS show, and people know who Angela, especially if you're watching Big Brother, of course Angela would be the first person that would get that. Now, I definitely see these Survivor players also winning one as well. So I think you're pretty much guaranteed, I think, for all the reality icons to probably have a shot at this power or the punishment. And I also think that, honestly, Jason might also get one if he survives. Because I think that fan base is, it's bigger than just not having one, so it's kind of like built in a little bit. So I could see him winning one. I mean, I voted for him, so I could see him winning one if he does survive, especially after, America loves an underdog. I love an underdog, so, I mean, you just can't help it. So we cut back to the night of the live eviction, and we see Ashley's picture go black and white on the memory wall, and the ghost of her voice echoing hamburger really made me laugh out loud. Yash is also celebrating winning the blockbuster, and then Rome has a diary room saying that he's feeling really strong with his position in the game right now. Mallory cannot stop thinking about how Ashley basically outed the Red Cross, which is the crossovers with the Red Corner, because both of them were working together to try to save her. But what will later be called the Toolshed Alliance. But Mallory cannot get that out of her head, so she's got that planted that's like a whole side of the house in her head. Then we get Angela. She's saying that she's thinking of Rome as charming as a snake. She said she wants to cut the head off the snake. She has it out for Rome. So if she wins HOH, that is who she's going for, and she wants to see him squirm. We go to the HOH competition. I don't know. I kind of love the camp of them still going to the dining room table for the dining room table time machine. They go back into time to June 30th, 1992. And we enter a country bar scene. It's giving Coyote Ugly, and everybody's wearing cowboy hats. It's so the vibe. And then they say they're in Nashville, and it all clicks for me. I grew up around Nashville, so I'm very familiar with a bachelorette party. So it's called the Achy, Breaky, HOH. In this HOH, there's going to be a new rule in every round. But in the first round, D will say boot scoot, and then you have to grab a partner. Is an odd number of people, so everybody that grabs a partner initially. Devins is actually left out. So Devins goes off to the side, but he is told that he will be able to re-enter in the third round of the competition. So the partners in the second round have to battle head-to-head against each other in a shuffleboard type competition. I love HOH competitions like this because it's really something that anybody can win. There's like a small skill set, not a really big game-changing skill set in my opinion. So I love an equal competition. Chuck and Haley end up going first. It really sucks for them that they had to battle against each other, but it just is what it is. And then Haley ends up being the one to score higher, and then Chuck is eliminated. Then we have Rome versus Drew, and then Drew wins. We have Lala versus Melody. Melody wins. Barrett versus Kamu. Kamu wins. Mallory versus Lyric, and Lyric wins. Jason versus Taylor, Jason wins. Angela versus Yash, and Angela wins. So that's Melody, Haley, Kamu, Lyric, Jason, Angela, and Devins going into round 3. Now in round 3, Devins is back. D says boot scoot, everybody pairs up again, and this time you're not playing against your partner, you're playing with your partner. So some people, like Angela, chose Jason to partner with because she wanted to get Jason out, and so she does not want Jason to be HOH. So in this round, she's a little screwed, like, because obviously she wants HOH, so she's playing with Jason now. Jason and Angela together score a 73, so it's a pretty good score to beat, or a slightly difficult score to beat, I should say. Melody and Drew go next, and they get, I think it was a 62, and they are eliminated. Lyric and Kamu go, they get a 46 and are eliminated. And Devins and Haley get a 78. So they knock Angela and Jason out, and they move on to the last round. In this last round, Devins and Haley go against each other, and they have to just score the highest on the board. And they both kind of agree that they want Haley to have this one. Haley just says she wants to have it. Devins is fine with that. So they have a plan for Haley to win it. But Devins ends up getting the higher score of 35, so Devins wins HOH. And I think the first round, I don't know, I'm glad we saw this HOH competition be so equal, because you can't really, like, actually measure someone's comp abilities, like physical comp abilities, with this type of a competition. So I feel a little less like, I don't know, everybody had a chance to win this one. So I thought maybe it was, because Survivor's so much more physical, you know, I could see them kind of having a slight advantage on these physical competitions, just being, you know, approaching them, because they've done, like, Devins and D have done so many of those. But I'm glad that this wasn't that case, because I would have started to feel a little bit of a type of way. Anyways, so they all plop back into the house, and Devin says that he's ready to play, and he wants to use this HOH to further his alliances that he has, and that being the Red Corner and the crossovers as well. Rome has a DR saying that he feels really good about Devins winning HOH, but he's worried about Lyric going on. Devins is telling him that, you know, Lyric hasn't really talked much game with him, so it's kind of hard. He's given her a bunch of chances to try to talk game. Rome mentions that he wants Lyric, Jason, Drew, and Lala to be safe, but if he had to boil it down even more, he wants to keep Lyric and Jason safe. And so Devin says that, you know, I might be able to do that, but he's not super sold on it. but that is like the most crucial, that is the beginnings of the fall of the Roman Empire, if you will. So then we get Devins talking to Dee about these nominations. They're trying to figure out how can Devins, keep Rome happy while also targeting somebody and not lose any allegiance to anybody. We also get a pipe queen mention on the episodes, which is what they've been calling Mallory because she won that veto competition. They're calling her pipe queen. I actually do not co-sign that kind of a nickname. It's actually crazy that they put that on the episode, and I wonder if her BB comic will have anything to do with that. Ugh, rough. I really, man, if I was in the house and I came out being known as pipe queen, that's rough, buddy. So Dee ends up going to Angela and Barrett, and they are talking about nominations as well. And Angela is very, very passionate about this idea of getting out Rome. It's Angela that she has her sights set on this man, and they want to declare war. So Angela goes to try to fire Devins up. She thinks that if she says that Devins is a showman. He wants to make good TV, so he wants to do stuff like this. She just has to talk him into it. So she goes up to Devins, and she's explaining to him, she drags him into the HOH bathroom, and she's explaining to him on why Rome needs to go. She says if she won HOH, she would have backdoored Rome, and she says that half the house follows him around, and Devins says that he wants to smoke. He says he's Rick Devins and he thrives in chaos. So Rick Devins has been activated. Chaos agent has been primed and ready to go. So Devins ends up talking with the crossovers in the red corner. They get everybody together in one room, but while they're gathering everybody to go into one room, they wake up in the have-not room. They wake up Lyric, Rome, and Jason. So Lyric, Rome, and Jason are like, oh, let's go make some tea to get the tea, if you will. Make some tea to get the tea. And while they're doing that, they're sitting outside. Everybody's in the HOH room. All they're missing is Barrett. So Angela goes to wake up Barrett and get Barrett. Now, to do this, she is walking directly in front of Jason, Rome, and Lyric. And they watch her go down from the HOH room, go down, get Barrett, and go back up into the HOH room. Pretty freaking suspicious. So I don't really blame Rome for going and posting up outside of the HOH room the way he does and ringing the doorbell. And it's kind of, it's not the nicest thing for them to not answer this door. Not that they have to or whatever, but they all go silent when he rings this doorbell. They ignore him. He's saying that he can hear them, but they just don't answer the door. And so they all go into the HOH bathroom. Again, HOH bathroom feature in this episode. And Drew mentioned, they all want to make this an alliance. They want to solidify this. So Drew mentions that he has always wanted an alliance called Tool Shed. Everybody's a tool. Everybody's useful. It's the Tool Shed. So not the flashiest name. It does get dogged on a little, but it just is what it is. I wish that they could hear us on the outsides calling it the Red Cross, but that'd be too good. At least it didn't include a number. That's all I can ask for. So they are done with their meeting in the HOH room. Everybody's walking downstairs in a big group. Can you not be more obvious? And everybody's leaving the room, and then Rome starts talking smack a little bit. He's like, oh, you didn't answer the door and stuff. And then the zoom in on his face from behind Lyric was crazy. That was some crazy camera work right there. And then Haley says to him, good night, sleep well, big day tomorrow. And Haley's kind of growing on me a little bit. I don't know, guys. She is. At this point, there was 15 minutes left in the episode, and I was like, Angela isn't an egg yet. Like, when are we getting this? So I was glad that all happened pretty quickly. So we get Angela in the time capsule, and then we get a small clip of Rome talking to Devins. And Rome is saying that, you know, he still trusts him. He doesn't want to judge what he saw. We've always had a good communication. But he says that things will get dicey if he wants to align with that side. And Devins kind of takes this as a threat. And he's like, oh, it's going to get dicey. And so Rome's like, are we cutting off this line of communication? And Devins says yes. Now from there, we get to the nomination ceremony. Now, the announcer said that it was going to be quite an exciting nomination ceremony, and we end up not even getting the half of it, you guys. So we get to the nomination ceremony, and at the nomination ceremony, Devins nominates Melody, Lyric, and Jason. Jason immediately is like, shocker, and is like, good job, Angela. And then, you know, then Devins begins explaining. He starts saying that, you know, no one's really talked strategy with him until he won HOH. None of the people on there. He calls out Rome and calls out the people that Rome said he wanted to save, which were Lyric and Jason. Then, we get, you know, Devins is trying to finish this meeting. Jason just starts saying, big liar, toward Angela. And it says to Angela, it's like, because it's your HOH. Angela then says, bitch, please. And he's like, oh, so now I'm a bitch. And she calls him a messy boy. And then she says, house meeting, this isn't over. Guys, when Big Brother is good, it's the best show on television, I have to tell you. So then we get a clip of, you know, we get them all the reactions from everybody being gooped and gagged, and then the announcer saying that the whole house is about to crack. And about to crack it is. And that is where our episode leaves us. And we are also reminded that BB Time Capsule voting is live. Next Sunday's episode, we will see the competition and everything for who the new winner is on the episode. But that'll probably pan out to next Friday on the feeds. We will know who won the next BB Time Capsule vote. And I don't know who I'm going to vote for this time. I really love voting for people who don't have a lot of power. So honestly, I might vote for Jason again, low key. I think maybe a Melody would be a good pick as well. And actually, maybe we should wait until the spoilers for any more discussion of that. But if you are not a spoiler kind of person, then thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back on Wednesday night after we get another new episode with our veto competition, our veto ceremony, the fallout from the nomination ceremony. It is going to be so good. This is the television I live for. This is why I love Big Brother. Now, you can follow me everywhere at Shelby Ashley, and that first E is a 3. And thank you so much for tuning in. But if you are a spoiler girly, then stay here, because in just a couple seconds, I'm going to talk about it, because that nomination ceremony was crazy. We actually got the tail end of the nomination ceremony on the feeds. The feeds cut into the middle of Angela and Jason yelling at each other. And then we even get to hear Rick Devins being like, this meeting is adjourned. Now, when the meeting does get adjourned, things stay heated. Jason continues yelling, Angela's yelling, Lala's sobbing, and then Rome kind of steps up to Haley, and then that makes Kamu and Barrett kind of step up to Rome a little bit. It is crazy. There's so many emotions happening. There's so much crying. There's so much arguing. It, honestly, for the feeds just to cut onto that, cinema. Yeah, thank you, Skippy. You pressed the live button right at the perfect time. And later on, we get Dee in the HOH room with Devins saying that that was better than winning Survivor. That was the best night of her life. Things cool down a bit the next day. The main concern the next day is Rome getting picked to play in the veto. Because if Rome is picked to play in the veto, Rome could win veto. Rome could take Lyric off. And then say Jason wins the BB blockbuster. Then you're declaring war and you're going to get out who? Lala? Mallory, Melody, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So there is a lot of room for error if Rome is picked to play in the veto competition. But the veto players are picked, and Angela and Barrett are the ones that are picked to play, so that basically guarantees that the veto will be used. We get the veto competition, apparently some kind of a puzzle. And now, according to the people in the house, I guess Jason finished the puzzle first. And then Jason went to go run to hit his buzzer. And from what it sounds like he looked back to double check his work real quick before he buzzed in. And I guess in the amount of time it took him to look back and double check his work, Devins comes and hits that buzzer and is correct and wins the power of veto. So Devins has won HOH and the power of veto this week. Devins holds all of the power, which I think he would kind of have it almost no other way. Now, we are waiting for the veto ceremony that is happening tomorrow. It's looking like Melody will be the one to get the veto used on her, and it's looking like Rome will take her place. But Lyric is putting up a great fight, and she is not taking this lying down at all, and she is flirting a lot, trying to gain some votes. She literally just touches Chuck's and Yasha's legs, like it's giving challengers at one point. And so she's working it. Her and Rome have been acting like they broke up to create some separation so that nobody really pairs them together. But I think it's kind of unraveling. I think people are realizing that they aren't actually broken up. And she had a little traction, but then Drew made a pitch to Devins earlier today about keeping Melody, and it kind of seems like people are on board for that. And honestly, I kind of think that's the best option for them as well. Because Melody is a better ally than enemy, I think. So, yeah, it's just been a very exciting couple days in the Big Brother house. Like I said, when Big Brother's good, it's so good, and it just gives me so much life. So, thank you so much for watching this, and like I said, I will be back on Wednesday with the post-veto episode recap. So, thanks for watching. Later!